Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caddy Olympus. I have a simple fly circuit here that is going to allow you to make fly a buyable item, and then once they've bought it, or once they've completed a task, they get fly without having to grab a little cube or something, or put on a costume like some other maps do. First thing we're going to use, getting into it, is an update 30 Hz. So we're going to get an event receiver. See the event receiver, it's just called event receiver. We're going to go to the configure tool on our maker pens. It's the little purple one on the top right under tools. If you do not know the tools, I have a tutorial link on the top right in the cards. You're going to go to configure it, and you're going to get this menu right here. What we're looking for, we click on it, we're going to scroll to the very bottom, and on the bottom right we're going to see update 30 Hz. Make sure that's on. So now we have the update 30 Hz. Going to have a get local player chip. The get local player chip is just to find the player locally. Make sure we're checking everybody in the room. Yeah, I could probably make this better with grid. There we go. Okay. Next thing we have is our room key chip. This is just going to specify what they're supposed to buy in order. Oop, I spelled that wrong. This is going to specify what we need in order to have them be able to fly. That's going to be the room key constant, is what it's actually called. So we need a room key. Let me check that right there. Next thing we need is a player owns room key chip. It's going to look something like this. There we go. We're going to need an if chip. Just if, if. If is going to have a little arrow pointing to the right, something like this. A player at roll chip. There we go. Okay, now that we have our chip set up, there are two things we're going to have to do before we can make this work. We're going to need a room key for people to buy, and we're going to need a roll to give them once they buy it. So let's get on those now. Alright, get your roll. We're going to look up roll, and it should be this one. Make sure you get the roll chip and not the roll mapper chip. They are easy to mix up, but it's just this one with the players on it. Let's go to tools, go to configure. We're going to click on it, and you're going to see this funny little menu pop up. Go on your rolls. See this? Roll name. I'm just going to name it fly. That makes most sense to me. And we're going to edit the roll. When you edit the roll, you're going to see this little menu pop up on your left. And I'm just going to turn CanFly on. If you want to turn this into like a VIP role, you can go to MakerPen and allow them to use MakerPen as well. But for right now, we are just going to use CanFly. Once that's done, go to here. And as long as you see that the name of this is now Fly, you will have done it correctly. All right, I just threw that off to the side. You're never going to have to look at that again. Next thing we're going to need to do is open our watch. Go down to this room. You're going to see at the top right, you're going to see settings. Click on settings. Scroll over to keys at the top. Just note that to make a key, you will need Rec Room Plus to be able to sell items to people. Press add key on the top right. Key name, we're just going to name it Fly. Description, fly high in the sky. Cool. And we're going to make it 10 tokens. You can also change this to be a different currency if you have a room setup currently. Room already has, I have testing ones in here. We're going to make it fly 3, but for your sake, you're going to make sure that it is fly. All right, we now have our room key, and we have our roll. Now what do we do with our original circuits? I took the liberty of organizing these in a more understandable manner because they were kind of messy without my grid. So I'm going to explain this the best I can, but it is going to take some effort on your side. So if you are new to circuits, please bear with me. I'm going to try to break it down into a sentence that everybody can understand. First thing we're going to start with is the event receiver update 30 Hz. You don't need to know what this does specifically, but all it basically does is update this signal 30 times a second. So whatever I wire to here is going to trigger 30 times a second. So what we're going to do with this is wire it into the run for this. So you'll see that it's constantly lit up. If I wire these two together, they won't be constantly lit up. Why is that? Well, that's because this isn't being triggered. If I run a trigger event, can't do that with this, but it'll flash and light up like that. But if we run it to here, it's going to light up 30 times a second, send 30 signals a second, and constantly be running, which is why it's always lit up. So next thing we're going to do, once we've done that, that means it's going to always check if the player owns the room key, and on player owns room key complete, we're going to run it to the if. Also put the player owns room key as the condition. We're going to take a step back, wire this to here. You do not need to wire it. I like having everything wired together and not having any open spaces on my chips. The room key is going to go to here. And you might have heard another error. That's because we haven't specified the room key. So you're going to go to configure on your maker pen. It's going to be the little orange or little purple one right there. Click on the room key. You're going to see this menu pop up. Show you the screen. See that menu pop up. Click on that, and then we're going to add fly through, which is just going to be your regular fly role. Player add role. We're going to add then to player add role. This is just going to say that if this condition is met, then it's going to play player add role, which is we're going to give the person the fly role. To do this, we're going to go to our tools, go to connect, click on the purple one, and open our watch. The value is going to have to be exactly the fly role. I'm just going to type in fly. That's going to be this here. Whatever this says across the bottom is what you're going to type into that value. We now have a fly role. You don't need to link this back up to the original get player because it's just going to be whatever this was. Now that it's all put together, I'm going to break it down in a sentence form so I can hope you guys understand this a little better. Event receiver update 30 Hz. It is checking 30 times a second if the local player owns the room key. This just checks if everybody in the room owns the room key. The room key is specified as the fly key, so it's going to check if it is the fly key and if everybody owns it. If on player owns room key complete, basically meaning if you buy the key, if it is bought, the condition will turn from false to true. Then it's going to add the player role fly, which allows you to fly. Alright, now that we've wired all that together, I threw the system up there just for visual purposes. And how are we now going to sell the person the key? Well, that's what this funny thing back here is for. What we're going to do, put it back here so it's not in my way. On the bottom, you're going to see a funny little button that says configure. We're going to click configure and then pull out our maker pen. It should automatically be put into your hand. We're going to press edit storefront and it's going to add this little carousel bit here. Let me remove this carousel just so I can show it. So we have no carousels. It says it's an empty shelf. Add a carousel. It'll start customizing your store. We're going to add carousel and you'll see all the things you can sell up here. You have currencies, consumables, keys, custom shirts. We're going to click on keys just at the top and you're going to add your fly key. Press update. And then when we come out here, you'll see in the middle of the screen, now we have our fly key. So that means when you click on it, you're going to get this funny little menu that says, would you like to buy it? Yes, I would like to buy the fly key. And because our system worked perfectly, I can now fly in the room. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I explained that well. The way I like to break down long circuits is with sentences, so I hope I broke that down into a sentence that everybody can understand. If you have any questions or concerns, or you'd like to, port it to your own systems, let me know down in the comments below, and I will help you guys the best I can. I hope you guys enjoyed my little commentary. Bye-bye.